I think they probably had a bigger influence on me than I realized, at least for a long time. But my parents were so active in the church that when I was young, I think I really resented it. They were always gone. I can remember getting hit in the head with a baseball bat and knocked out, and nobody could find my folks because they were at church. That's just, but there was a lot of times that were like that. And I was very active. I went through church, I went through the motions, I was always there, maybe playing with the hymnals or something else and not paying much attention. But as I got into high school and so on, I was quite active. We had a very good Sunday school class and a Sunday school teacher who really let us ask a lot of questions. And that's probably what I did most of my life, was ask questions. I didn't have the answers, but I had lots of questions. And so like I say, I was active, and that was in the years when we had a very big district youth group. We probably had, what do you think, 60 or 70 people that would go to youth rallies when we were in high school. Well, you think something like that? A lot, I know that. Anyway, it really saddens me to see that the numbers have gone down so much. I guess college was interesting. I went to church. There was a fairly good group of people who went to church on Sunday, and I was one that usually did. I'm not sure that I went to church because I wanted to be in church, but I went because I thought I should, and because I could always visit with Bob Boys about what happened during football. And in college, football was more important to me, probably than anything else. I decided I wanted to be a teacher, mainly because I wanted to coach football. And so there's one of the stories of that would be taking an inter-ed class. And I got a C in that class, and I had all my papers, and the teacher really liked to give pluses and minuses on the grades, and almost all of my grades had pluses. So I showed her that if you figured out my grade on a 13-point scale with A and A minus and A plus, and working your way down, that I didn't deserve a C. I really deserved a B, and probably closer to a B plus. And she said, yes, I can see that, and yes, you probably deserve a B, but my policy is that I never change a grade. And I was very upset at that, and as I walked away, I thought, I sat in that class for a whole semester, and she taught me more than that little bit, because I thought I'd never treat a student the way she treated me. And probably the worst experience in my teaching career was when I didn't live up to that. So, anyway, well, to go on, I did get through college, and I got married, went to graduate school, which was a good experience. Had one interview for a teaching job in Sitka, Alaska, and we went up there. Had 23 really good years, I would say, and while we were up there, we made a point of always coming to Kansas during the summer so that kids could get to know their grandparents and the rest of the family. And one of those summers, my father died. Excuse me, my father was always a very significant figure in my life. I think I'll never forget. We were at the graveside service. Because it was a cloudy day, rather cool for July. But just as they put over the casket into the ground, the colors that show the golden rays. Probably the first time I really thought about heaven. I knew about it, but I never thought much about it. Anyway, after Dad died, a few years later, Mom moved to McPherson, and she had breast cancer. And in 1990, we decided we really needed to move closer to where she was, help my sister out a little bit. And we just kind of decided we would move. It was a good time for her to start high school, at least we thought. But the things that happened that summer were really pretty remarkable. And people could say coincidences, but I'm not sure. But anyway, I didn't have a job lined up. I had talked to the people at Hutch Community College, and they were kind of non-committal, which I didn't understand. But that was okay. I figured I'll find something when I get there. And Ann said, "Would you ever consider calling McPherson College placement?" And I said, "Yeah, I could do that." So I called them, and they said, "Oh, well, this is really strange, because just yesterday we got a notice that Bueller was looking for a chemistry teacher." And so I said, okay, and I called them, talked to the superintendent, and actually he said, could we get references? Could I talk to the superintendent? And I said, well, you can talk to the principal or vice principal, anybody else, but not the superintendent, because we didn't get along, and I don't think he gave me a good reference, but that's the way it is. And he said, well, come on anyway, and so we set up a time to come for an interview, and I said, well, it'll cost me about $750 to fly down to Wichita to get to this. And he said, well, we can help you up to about $300 worth. And I said, okay. And so I immediately called Las Carolinas to get a ticket. And they said, well, this is really strange, but just this morning we got a notice that there's a fare to Wichita for $300. So I said, well, let's book it, and got down there and had made reservations for a rental car, and got to the airport, and they said, we don't have any car. And I said, but I have reservations. And they said, well, that's too bad, we don't have any cars. And I said, okay, well, I'm going to go to your competitor, and if there's a difference in price that I have to pay, then that's fine. And the guy agreed that he would do that. And so I walked over to the competitor, and not only did they have a car, but it was $5 a day cheaper than the one that I admitted in the first place. Not only that, the radio was set to golden oldies when I got in there. Let's see. Oh yeah, so I had an interview with the superintendent and the assistant superintendent. Everything went well. They liked me, and the principal was out of town, and that was probably good, because after I was there, after I got to Bueller, I realized that had I interviewed with the principal, I never would have taken the job. But anyway, got the job, and then we had to move. So I was coaching all-star baseball, and this may sound kind of insignificant, but we had a really good team, and we were playing for the state championship in Fairbanks, and if you watch baseball, you know that you can have close plays and so on, but the first one was a play that he hit the ball to deep shortstop, and I had a runner on third who was a good ball player, and he had a good lead, and I said, as soon as the shortstop throws the ball to first, you break for home. Well, it meant that the shortstop had to throw to first, and the first baseman had to relay the throw to home, and the runner slid in. As he slid in, the ball came right into the catcher's glove, right where he was sliding. If it had been higher, off to one side or the other, he'd have been safe. He was out. And the other one was, had a runner on second, and Kurt got a hit to center field, and the runner was coming full steam, and I waved him right on home, because that's it. Once again, it was going to have to be a close play, but if the ball was off at all, he'd be safe. And once again, the ball came, landed right in the catcher's glove, right as the runner slid into home plate. Otherwise, he would have been safe. Now, why is that important? Well, because the game went into extra innings. Had we won that game, we would have been state champions. And then I don't know what I'd have done, because we'd have had more games going on. And it would have really messed up trying to get moved. Anyway, the next thing was, I was working over at the airport, and I went over to pick him up one day, and when I went in, the guy said, "You don't know anybody that would need a U-Haul truck, do you?" I said, "Yeah, we're moving, we'd like one, but," I said, "I'll have to check and see if I can get it on the ferry." He said, "Well, you do that, and then you let me know." So I went and called the guy on the ferry, and he answered, and I said, "Can I get a truck on the ferry in August?" And he said, "You gotta be kidding." He said, "Everything's been booked solid since January or February. There's no way." I said, "Well, at least check and see." He said, "Okay, I'll check." And there was a silence for a bit. He said, "You won't believe this, but we just had cancellation. There's space on the ferry." So we got our U-Haul truck, drove to actually McPherson, and had no place to stay or anything, and that was the year of the Heston tornado. There was no housing to be found in Buhler. We did look at one house, but it was just not suitable. It was bad wiring and all kinds of problems. And I told Dan, "Well, let's go over and visit a friend that lived there, and anyway, we say hi to him, and then we can do some looking." Well, as we drove over, here was a for rent sign in a duplex. So I asked a friend, I said, "Do you know who has that?" And he said, "Yeah, it's my neighbor." So we walked over, and he said, "Oh, I just put that sign out. It hadn't even been an hour." So we had a place to stay. Let's see what came next. I guess that's mainly it in terms of the things. And I was on the plane, one of those trips, and I was sitting by a lady, and I was telling her about how all the things fit together. I said, "It's just really been coincidences," and she said, "There really are no coincidences." Anyway, and here I am. I'm still asking lots of questions. We came regularly, always a part of this church, and I guess I should say that the year at Buhler, I had some good friends there that I met. Marlo and Gary, Lou. But other than that year was pure hell. The principal did his best to make my life miserable, and I reciprocated. At the end of the year, I applied at Glen Hutch Community College and went over for an interview there, and they offered me a job immediately. In fact, everybody else told me they had to wait weeks before they got an answer, but I had the interview, and the department chair said, "Yeah, just wait out here. I'm sure you'll have a job, but just wait." And Came back out in about 15 or 20 minutes and said, yeah, you had a job. So we went from there. Let's see, I think there are a few more things, but basically that's the way it was, and I still have a lot of questions. I went through the motions here, but I wouldn't say I really had a faith as such. There are certain things that you need to do, and I try to do those. And then one of my sons we took to treatment for drug addiction. And we came back and I was sitting here in church. And Marla was preaching and Kenny and Francie were sitting behind us. And I really wasn't concentrating on the sermon, I'll be honest. I was thinking about treatment, and it was a real trying situation. And then there was this voice. Said, don't worry, everything will be all right. I turned around and said, Kenny, what'd you say? He said, I didn't say anything. And it says, I don't know, but when you're way down the problems, you know, you kind of feel down. And when I heard that, all of a sudden, it was just like someone lifted a weight off my shoulders. And I thought, you know, there has to be something more to this. And I think that's when my faith really set in. And I look back on it and I thought so often, so many people have faith and they never have an experience like that. And they still have faith. That's amazing to me. And I look back at all the things that fit together with us coming to this area. And the way they fit together, and that God must have a purpose. And for the life of me, for all the time we were here, I couldn't figure it out. But I think that God wanted me to have a year in hell, so I would appreciate all the good years I had before and after in Sitka. And I'm not sure that that's a good reason, but that's the only purpose that I've been able to figure. And Judge stole my thunder this morning and talked about being grateful. I've always been fortunate. I've made a few poor decisions, but never any really bad decisions. I've had a number of things in my life that really affected what would have happened. And I look back on them and said, why did things work out the way they did? One of those would be when we were in Sitka during the Vietnam War, and my draft board really wanted me. So I went up to Anchorage to take my physical, and then while we were waiting for the results to come back, another guy and I talked to the recruiters, and there was a Navy recruiter, and when he found out I had a master's degree in chemistry, he really wanted me. Anyway, but to make the long story short, my mother always wanted me to be in the band because my brother had been in the band. And so when he was in the military, he played in the Army band, and he didn't have to have any active duty or anything like that. Well, the results of the physical came back. Oh, and she really didn't want me playing athletics. She was not a fan at all. And when the results of physical, I went into the physical, the doctor grabbed hold of my leg and twisted it, and it popped. It was just a loud sound like books dropping on the floor, and I thought my knee never does that. And I saw him write something down, and then I found out that I did not pass my physical because of my knee, so that was the end of that. Otherwise, I probably would have enlisted and would have changed our lives totally. But I have so many things, and like I say, I am so fortunate. Everything has been good for me. I should have a lot of faith, and I am very, very grateful. That was too long and too emotional.